the Jones Cup was the experiment. That's where we
Ah,
could really see for the first time if what we were doing worked. Our bara-bara style of basketball, if it's going to be at the international stage. And we didn't even have our top players then, right? So
yeah, yeah. Mm.
we have a lot of the pool members who didn't eventually make the final cut were there, and still it turned out well. So having winning the Jones Cup did two things. Number one, it gave credibility to what we were doing. So now everyone, if there were some doubts whether it would work, it all disappeared. People said, no, this thing works. So everyone now bought into it even more. And secondly, even some of the players who were kind of on the fence if they wanted to join the team or not, they made the plunge when they saw, wow, grabe yung experience. So it was so cool to win a championship. We beat Team USA and so on and so forth. So and that got, I think, more than anything, that got the country behind Gilas. I think that was the real start of it when they saw, wow, this team was special. And here is David beating Goliath, LA Tenorio running rings around those Americans,
Yeah.
and Philippines beating the US. So
Uh,
doon na nag-umpisa yung Gilas, kind of the Gilas mystique, right? Here is a team of guys, they're the shortest, they're not too experienced internationally, but they just work hard and they play together as a team.
yeah. And I also wanted to ask po yung how you prepared for these tournaments. Because feeling ko lang, I also told Gabe po na yung years after you were the coach, medyo feeling ko nakulangan sa preparation, like practice time, bonding, and all these things. Pero he mentioned a lot of memories and lessons he learned from you because the stuff you do daw po off the court were really nice. Like, for example po sa Miami, I believe, and yung mga training camps before the World Cup, parang you left the country like 2 months before the tournament, or I don't know, yeah, 2 months, and then you went all over the world. Like you met Andre Blatch pa nga daw po in Miami. So sa'yo po, what's your plan when it comes to these teams that you parang you imparted on them in order to be successful, even if in my opinion po they're not like the most talented bunch, pero pag sa court ang galing na nila.
It's the manner in how you use the time allotted to you, because no Philippine team will ever be prepared because we're working within the constraints of the PBA schedule, right? So just like me and just like every coach before me or after me, we didn't have enough time to practice. But I think my advantage is I'm a trained team builder, team facilitator. So aside from the basketball stuff that we were doing, everything that Gabe was telling you about, those were our team building activities outside the basketball court, outside just practice. And I think that's my advantage over the other coaches because I am trained in that as well. So team dynamics, team facilitation. So we were able to do a lot of those other activities that Gabe was talking about that strengthened our bond even more. So that in the game, you basically, and I'm sure if you ask any player in Gilas, they will tell you we're brothers first, even before we're teammates.
Yeah.
And they knew that they could trust each other with their lives. As in, ganun kalalim yung bond sa Gilas. So it just manifested itself in the games when they just would not allow themselves to lose. A lot of times, I had very little to do with it. It's just them, nagtitingin lang sila. They'll just feed off the energy of each other, and they would just refuse to lose. I mean, you have to beat us. You have to carry us out of the court. And it took the best efforts of Argentina and Puerto Rico and Croatia, to beat those guys. And in the end, I guess that's just the kind of the secret sauce there, the kind of brotherhood, the kind of bond that was built. And that's why when I talk to organizations, I always tell them, build a team. You've got to be a team. You cannot be a team in name only. You have to really be a team. You have to work with one heartbeat. And that's what we were able to get those guys to do. They work not only towards one goal or one objective, but they work with one heartbeat, and that's a team.
Yeah, from the basketball side of things naman po, ano yung tingin niyo na pagkukulang with the close losses? Like nung Argentina nga, like Jason Castro didn't get you attempt the last shot, and then sa Croatia, I think Jeff Chan missed the game tying three. So do you believe po it was more of first time kasi yung first appearance niyo sa World Cup kaya nagkulang sa end game?
It was just experience. It was experience and a lack of respect. I mean, that miss of Jeff Chan, that was a clear foul.
Yeah.
To that game winner, he was fouled. But the referees would not believe that we could beat Croatia. So if you watch that game, it was a lack of respect because we were first timers. Jason, that was my fault. I should have gotten the team or Jason, the players, a better shot. And that's a coach's job. A coach's job is to get the best shot for the team, to put the players in position to make the shot. Making the shot, that's the player's job. But and after the game, I said that's on me. I should have gotten or devised a better play. We wanted to get to Jimmy then, but they did a very good job of denying Jimmy, switching to deny him. We couldn't get him the ball. We should have gotten a better option for the players. So that's on me. That's the coach's fault. That's my fault. And I always say, as coaches, as leaders, our job is to get our people the best shot possible. But making that shot, that's their job. That's our people's job.
Yeah. And then the following tournament po was the Asian Games, I believe, and there nagka-issue po with how people said na yung kay Marcus Dowsett and you that you benched him nung isang game. So I wanted to ask lang po your perspective or the story on what really happened there. And syempre, that time, I remember everyone was bashing you without really knowing the true or both sides of the story or the true story. So how do you deal din po with the bashers since, you have social media din po? And what was the real story with the Doubt-It situation?
Well, it's very simple. At halftime of the game, he didn't want to come out anymore because he thought that I pulled him out too early. And like I said, we had that commitment, right? Nobody should ever question their playing time, substitution pattern, whatever.
Yeah.
But fine, we can go back and forth. That's fine.
Yeah.
We can have shouting matches. We have shouting matches with Gabe, but
Yeah.
never quit on your teammates. The problem is Marcus didn't come out to play in the second half. That's the problem. And that went against everything that we had worked for, everything that we valued as a team. So he quit on his teammates. He quit on his team. So we made a decision, and I asked the players about it, the local players. So what are we going to do? And we decided as a team to bench him the next day. And the problem is it was the game against Korea. And so when we lost that game, that effectively blew our chances of advancing, and we had to go through a very difficult process to move forward.
I remember.
Essentially, that was it. So, I got bashed and all that, but in the end, I did what I thought was right. I consulted my players. We were all in that decision together. And if it happens, I do the same thing. I mean, the bashers can bash me all they want. I've already developed a very thick skin about it. But they're not the ones with us in the trenches. So I always tell the bashers and all that, unless you're with us every day at practice and you see what we're doing, then, you can criticize what we want to do. You can question our strategy, our decisions, and so on and so forth. But don't tell us how to do our jobs.
For sure. Yes.
We're the one who is there every single day in every single practice. Now, if you're there with us, okay, you're welcome. You're welcome to craft strategy, talk strategy, and do post-game analysis with us. But if you're not there, then okay, you can do your backseat driving, you can do your Monday night quarterbacking, but unless you're there, and I think it was Eric Spoelstra who said that very well. He said, "You'll never know. You'll never know. They'll never know unless you've been there in the midst of a big game or of a best of 7 finals in a game 7. You never know. You'll never know the kind of pressure, the kind of difficulty it is to get your team playing at the highest level. So, I'm fine with it. I thought that we played the game according to our values, and in the end, we lost. We got bashed for it. That's the way it is. That's how coaching is in the Philippines, right? When you
For
win,
sure. Yeah.
magaling yung players. When you lose, tanga yung coach.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a truism I've long learned to live with.